better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romance in the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, ah, I'll have what she's having.
Thank you for tuning into Romance in the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, Paige made us watch Kissing Jessica Stein. So, Paige, have you seen this movie before?
I had not, but this comes up on any time you Google, like, lesbian rom-coms. This is, like, towards the top of the list, and I think it's because it's early, right?
Oh, it has to be.
This is 90s when email is fucking new.
Right, yeah. It has to be because I'd argue that this movie isn't really that. I mean, it's kind of that. I don't know. It's weird. And by that, I mean not great. But it probably was revolutionary at the time because of the subject matter alone.
Sure. I would call this a bisexual rom-com, which is valid.
Yeah, absolutely valid.
It is.
Maybe not even that. Maybe like a coming to terms with who you are.
Yes.
Bisexual movie. Because it's not, well, I mean, I should say it's just not at all romantic, like it's mainly about like two people coming to terms with who they are. One of them, I think, knows way sooner, obviously, but.
True. I feel like up until the last 10 minutes, this is a pretty romantic movie. And then the last 10 minutes is like, oh no, we're gonna rewrite everything that happened, basically. And you're like, okay, I guess.
When they like break up 10 minutes before the end of the movie, I was like, what the fuck are we even doing here? Like, it made me kind of mad because like, I don't think either of them are ready for the relationship step that they're taking at the very end, which is them living together because like, Helen is in love with falling in love. She will always be stuck in a 6-month cycle of relationships because that's as far as she has matured through one, and that's all she knows.
She loves the honeymoon period and hates the day-to-day period. Because I would argue at the end, I'm like, that's what a relationship is sometimes. And you do have to kind of, keep things spicy, talk each other through it or whatever. And I would almost argue at the end of this, I would kind of be fine if they weren't together because this was them learning this new thing about themselves. But I hate that it sets up that maybe Jessica ends up with Josh. I hate that.
Yeah, I was like, barf.
So much.
Josh, barf. Fully barf.
Josh is the fucking worst.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Josh is awful.
If the end of this movie was them like double dating with their current girlfriends, like
meeting 2 other women, fine.
Love that.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Love that.
And probably, honestly, accurate to reality for a lot of
real
women who date women. Let's just say it that way.
Yes.
And down to the moving in together too soon. That is like a trope.
Hey.
I don't even know if it's true. It is a trope, though.
I have many friends who have moved in with their new girlfriends too soon.
One of them is me. That I've done that. Like that's a dumb thing I've done. Not with Natalie, but like, before Natalie. Yeah.
It's a thing that all people do because the rent is too damn high. So like
I was going to say, like it's a financial decision a lot of times.
Correct. Yeah. I would say that everyone in a big city moves in with their relationship partners too soon, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because money.
Yeah. And also, that's where my dick wants to be. And like, I like just try to keep that guy happy, So like.
Gotta follow him around.
Yeah.
I actually do really like, I don't love the ending. I don't love like that she ends up probably with Josh. But I feel like the movie's thesis statement up till we get to that point really is, if you are not open to the idea that something you do not know or understand could potentially make you happy and therefore you should explore new things, you are doomed to be unhappy forever. And I actually love that.
I have no problem with that either.
Right?
Yeah.
The way that Helen lays that out, I actually kind of love how they end up meeting each other. I love that for Helen, this kind of does, I do think that Helen is in love with the honeymoon period of a relationship and that will be problems later on. But like, I do think that it's an interesting contrast for the both of them where Helen approaches this from the position of like, I love new experiences. Let's just try new things. I might love it. Versus Jessica, who's like, I will never try a new thing ever in my entire life. And the contrast of those two people. And I think at the end of the movie, Helen has gained a new experience that she loves and enjoys and will go on to live her life however she wants.
Her next partner is another lady.
Is another lady, yeah.
So, like, I have to assume that she was like, oh, I really dug my ladies' intermission, and I think I'm going to live in that territory for the next foreseeable future.
Going.
Whereas Jessica Stein is like, no, apparently.
Well, hey, or Jessica is maybe open to like various options for the future. The movie makes it looks like the option is going to be Josh, and I don't like that. But like, I'm open to her reevaluating a lot of the things that she had done in her life that were keeping her miserable and now doing things that make her happy. I just wish it wasn't Josh, because he's the fucking worst and he's an asshole. And literally at one point in the movie is like, I was really unhappy to see that you were happy because you weren't with me. And you're just like, fuck you.
Yo, when he centers her happiness in his narcissism and phrases it in a way that like the cadence tells you you're supposed to like this character for saying that.
No.
I was like, barf, Josh.
Gross.
You're the worst.
She is not responsible for your artistic vision.
Right. And this relationship, if it is the one that Jessica is getting into at the end of this movie, cannot last because you both can't be unemployed artists.
I mean, yeah, there is that. Well, you can. It's just not fun. And it's a lot of McDonald's, I think. Well, not even McDonald's. McDonald's is expensive as fuck right now.
Paige, unemployed art. No, unemployed. The part about that is like, unemployed, like you have to make some money.
Right.
And she says at the end of this movie, he's like, are you
She's
painting?
not painting for
and
cash.
she's like, yeah, I'm not painting for cash though. Like no one's paying me for my terrible
No one's
art.
paying me. Well, and here's the thing. We never see that painting she puts in the show after. I kind of wish we did. But I do think it's interesting in the movie that like that painting makes Helen view her as like, this is someone who has potential and has been cordoning themselves off in this like blanket of perceived comfort that is making her very miserable, versus Josh being like, wow, she did something cool, so now I have to do something cool. She can't be the one doing cool things. And I was like, I fucking hate this guy.
And Paige, the moment he kisses her, like he literally says to her, I hate when you're happy and I'm not the center of it. Like that, what he says is what a sociopath says before he murders you. And the movie wants us to think, God damn, that Josh is a charming guy.
Buddy, I thought of at least two specific separate men who tried to say similar things to me before I met my husband. And I was like, they are a type. And it's a type that can't stand a woman being creative and independent in her own way. And run, Jessica, run away.
It starts off with real, like, God told me he wants us to be together vibes.
I'm here to tell you that you don't need God to be a douche. It helps some people, but you don't need.
It's often the excuse, Paige.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't for a second think, well, I don't know. The movie made me sad because it is just like watching a lady realize that she may be open to other experiences.
Yes.
Having the chance to like be true to herself and fall in love with the person she's meant to be with. At least that's what it seems like it's setting up, right?
Right.
And then at the end of the movie, you realize that, oh no, that's not this movie, you dumb piece of shit.
Yeah.
This isn't a love story, you fucking idiot viewer. When you thought fully this whole movie, she was going to end up with the guy who founded Photoshop and be a billionaire. Like,
oh my
she
God.
could have married Photoshop guy at the ground floor, Paige.
When they said he's head of software design at IBM, I was like, girl, lavender marriage that shit right now and get the
100%.
stock options.
You think that guy was totally straight? I don't think so.
Absolutely not. I don't think so.
And that's based on the performance alone. I'm not saying because of his job or anything, but like that guy went on to make $1 billion.
Can I tell you a bonkers rewrite thought that I had while watching this movie that I think if they were making this movie today, they might do. And at the time, there was no way they were going to do.
Please do.
There is a scene where Josh is staying over at their house, and they set up that Josh was actually her brother's friend.
Yeah. They were at the same level and like same grade level,
Right.
if you want, in college. They were both seniors together.
In college.
She came in as a freshman, and then he dated her. Like,
Yeah.
what's his name? Josh dated her for like a year.
Correct.
And then they broke up because honestly, Josh is terrible. Please continue.
Yes.
Sorry, Paige.
Yes, no, I'm happy to continue because at that point in the movie, we just know that Josh is unhappy. We have not seen the full reason for his narcissism on display. And he's having this moment where he's sitting on the couch with her brother, and her brother's like, "Oh, I was supposed to call my fiance." And I had half a thought that he was going to go, "I'll call her tomorrow." And then he and Josh were going to hook up on the fucking couch. And that's why Josh has been unhappy this entire time. And the brother was going to have to come out and ruin the wedding and reveal that like his fiance Rachel is known the whole time, but they didn't know how the family would react. And it would be this thing of like, yes, Jessica is coming out and it was this big secret, but I've had a secret too. And everyone's just going to have to deal with it. And I thought for sure for about 3 seconds that that's what we were going to get. And I was like, oh, fuck, yes, this is why Josh is unhappy. And then no.
So what you're saying is being around Josh makes you gay.
No, I'm just saying that.
Because her brother would have been in a gay relationship with him on some level. And then
Yes.
she also had sex with him in college, one would assume.
Correct. I think of this more as she and Josh, neither of them are comfortable with being their true happy selves in the film. And we see that in a number of different ways. And if she were to then find out that like she was the beard in college, oh, I am here for that 110%. Like, that's a way more interesting turn for Josh, I think. And they kind of set it up because it was like they were friends, but whatever. And I was like, oh, and then no.
Yeah.
No, we don't get it.
We don't.
We don't get it at all.
No, because this movie is weirdly not brave.
In some ways, it's not. There are some ways where I'm like, I actually really like how we are kind of watching these characters realize that they are much happier in this relationship than they are in their other relationships. I would argue it's really weird at the end that Jessica and Josh potentially end up together, considering how much happier Jessica seems in a relationship with a woman versus any of the men that she has interacted with at all. There is like instantly more chemistry and more connection and more everything. And I'm like, but we spent all this time on it in the movie and we believe in it. And then we're just going to throw it away. Like,
I know it kind of like, it's like when the writer, director, or that team or it's like, no, it's not about that, you idiot. I love that in movies. It's terrible.
well, and this is a crazy thought. Of the two women that we are watching, I would actually believe more in Helen being like, you know what? I'm pansexual or bisexual, and it's kind of an everything bag for me. And I need a more sexually forward relationship regardless of who it's with.
Yeah.
Versus Jessica, who I'm like, Jessica seems truly way happier in a relationship with a woman. It is shocking to me that the movie wants her to not pursue a relationship like that, and also specifically a relationship with a guy who's been a fucking asshole to her the entire movie.
Like on screen. Yeah.
Frustrating.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I was kind of with this movie and on board until the last 10 minutes, and then I was like, all right, so we're just undoing everything, I guess.
And they're like, they just lean in real close and they're like, yeah, you idiot.
Like, yeah, you dumb bitch. Yeah, I guess.
I do think for 2001 or early 2000s, this is a pretty, forward-thinking movie, which is kind of great. It's got a baby Jon Hamm in it.
Baby Jon Hamm.
He wasn't famous at the time because he's in one scene. And it's the scene before she's like, you know what? Maybe women's are for me. And if you go on a blind date with Jon Hamm, and whether he is romantically available or not, if like that's the stratosphere you're playing in for men,
right?
And that isn't good enough for you, you're into women, babe. Like, and that's okay.
Good for you.
If like Jon Hamm levels of attractive doesn't do it for you.
Right.
Men aren't for you, and that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There's a whole spectrum of things out there. Yeah, I'm with you. The one thing this movie really has going for it, and again, it's before the end of the movie undoes everything, is the conversation with her mom after the rehearsal dinner. I fucking loved.
I did too, but here's why I wish they had done the breakup differently.
Yes.
Because of course the mom knows that they were dating. They broke up outside of the wedding dress shop, and they totally would have heard it. They saw everything.
Heard every word.
I don't disagree. Like, I do love that moment. I just wish they hadn't kind of undercut it by making that breakup so public in front of her mom. Like, of course she knows, you know?
Yeah.
And here's why they get away with it, I think, in the movie. The mom knows in that, and she's signaling she knows, and that, like, it's a way to say, hey, I'm okay with it. I want you to be who you are. I love you, and I don't care. Like, please bring her. It's a way to say that without having the awkward conversation.
Right.
And it seems like that's kind of, I don't know if it's her mom's problem, but that is Jessica's problem with a lot of things, right? She can't really have the awkward conversation.
Right.
And so her mom has found a way to, like, let her know she will love her no matter who she's with in a way that, like, is very sweet, but it is a little undercut.
I am going to also argue, based on that same conversation where her mom tells a very troubling story of Jessica as a child.
Yeah.
We know Jessica's in therapy. She does reference her therapist multiple times.
Yeah.
If she's not talking about that childhood anecdote in therapy, girl.
What else do you talk about in therapy? Like, that is what you talk, that you gotta get to the core of it. You know what I'm saying? It may take her a few years to get there, but, like, she's gonna end up there.
This childhood anecdote literally is prescriptive of everything in this movie that's going on. It reminded me of a meme that I've seen circulating a lot in ADHD circles, which is, it doesn't have to get done. It just has to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is absolutely a piece of this. And then a companion meme that just says, now that you're done worried about it being perfect, you can start making shit that's good.
Yeah.
Like, this idea of, like, when you release yourself from the need for perfectionism, you can actually get stuff done. And if you don't tackle that piece of, I have to be perfect, everything has to be perfect, everyone's looking at me, if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing, then you unlock a whole lot of, like, hey, I can give myself grace in these moments because perfection is impossible. And it seems like Jessica is not there yet.
No.
And should really talk to somebody about it.
Have you heard the perfection is the enemy of the good?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to say perfection is the enemy of the complete.
Yeah, that is also true.
Yeah, especially for people that I've met with ADHD, at least.
Yes.
Spinning on how to make it perfect is what stops you a lot of times from finishing something. So, like, I've had to, like, force myself to be like, well, that song's done.
Yes.
It sucks.
Yes.
But I'm not going to work on it anymore. And it's just one that I learned from and failed. We're moving on to another song that doesn't sound exactly like Hot Cross Buns for some reason. I wish that wasn't a true story.
Exactly like Hot Cross Buns. I know it has to be true. Otherwise you wouldn't have said it.
You were like, what? Why didn't we realize we were writing that when we wrote this? I'm done. We gotta move on.
I would just say I had a conversation with a very much more accomplished famous screenwriter than me, where he was like, yeah, and then when it's finished, it's this. And I couldn't stop myself. It came out of my mouth and I just said, is it ever finished? And he just looked at me, like, straight in the eyes and was like, no. And I was like, yeah, all right, we understand each other.
Yeah.
It's never finished. It's not over. It'll never be over. I wrote a script page every day for a year. Anyway.
Your script's too long, if that's the truth, because that's going to be like 365 minutes of a movie, and that's way too long.
That's way too long.
Yeah, don't do that. This movie, thankfully, wasn't too long, and perhaps we should go through it scene by scene, Paige.
We open on a family in synagogue talking loudly, which you know what? Up until today, I was today years old when I realized this was not just a thing we did in Jesus churches.
You didn't think...
I get watching it, I was like, this is so relatable, and I'm kind of glad that this is a thing that we share.
It is two generations, like mother and grandmother.
Yes.
Trying to make sure the line continues.
Of course.
Like, because they are harassing Jessica is their daughter / granddaughter, right? And they're like, hey, this guy just moved back. He divorced his wife from Toledo, that bitch, or whatever. And they cause a little bit of a scene because they're just like talking in church.
Which
isn't super uncommon in certain churches. So like a little bit of murmur is fine, but like when you're talking louder because the priest or the rabbi is too loud in your opinion, like that's too loud for church. If you're louder than the person on stage, ma'am, you're heckling at this point technically.
Yes.
And don't do that in church for sure.
I mean, there is literally a term for when this situation is happening and you were talking in church and someone makes someone laugh, but laughing is too loud. And then you have to stifle the laughter and it's so much harder. It's called church giggles for a reason because it's this scenario. Although, and I'm not sure if was your experience, maybe not, because I don't know how much time you spent in the church as an adult.
Define adult, Paige.
Well, if we're going by Mormon definitions. No, I mean like as an adult.
No, I knew what you meant.
Yeah. The singles group at church, slim pickings. And so conversations like this are often like, what about so-and-so? And you're like, doesn't he keep pee in jars? Like that's the level of like person we're dealing with.
You're not wrong about that, but in certain areas of the country, like where I grew up, it was kind of slim pickings.
Yeah.
We escalated from just church dances to steak dances, which sounds like I'm talking about the steak you cut with a knife. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh,
A
no.
steak is like, all right, in the Mormon community, there's like steaks, which are like, think of it like regions.
Okay.
It's like a region for the church because the Mormon church is not franchised like every other Christian religion other than Scientology, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, not Christian, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it is owned by the quote family. They don't call it this, but it's like a family owned like business, more or less.
Sure.
Everything rolls up to the prophet, who is, I think, just the oldest Mormon at that moment. I'm joking. That's not how they pick the prophet, guys. Calm down.
No, doesn't the prophet just kind of declare themselves and everyone's like, I mean, seems like it.
No, Paige, the quorum of the 12 get together and they all vote.
That's right.
And the winner of that vote has to turn it down 3 times, just like the Pope. And then, no, I'm just joking about that part too. And it's often the person who's been on the Council of the 12 the longest is typically the person that they select.
Got it.
It's an unofficial whatever, nobody cares, and you shouldn't. But I literally forgot what we were talking about.
Steak dances that don't include meat steak, and therefore I'm not excited about it.
So my church was so small that we would have to go to the stake, like the region. So churches are like the church in your neighborhood, right?
Like there's so few single people you have to go to the county or whatever, basically.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I had to go to the county church dance, more or less. And by county, it actually was like 4 or 5 counties in Tennessee. It was
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wild.
But like in Utah, that's like, it would be as big as a school dance because everyone's Mormon out there.
Yeah.
Which is why all my cousins who live out there look exactly alike.
Right. Because they're all kind of probably related.
I can literally, when those LeBaron documentaries came out, I could tell I was related to them. I was like,
you're like, holy shit, there's my bone structure.
I recognize those faces. They're my cousins. For sure they're my cousins. And I called my mom and she was like, yeah, that's them.
Yep.
That's them. That's the side of the LeBaron family we don't talk about.
There is a bit of a problem, I'll say, in the evangelical circles that I grew up in.
I don't think there's any problems with any evangelical circles that I've ever seen ever in my life.
There's problems in every organized anything, okay? Like everybody's got some problems.
Yes. That's true.
One of the problems I have noticed, especially now as an adult looking back, is that men will marry much younger, but women don't necessarily do the same. And there's like an imbalance of the amount. So singles groups would always be like a whole room of the coolest 30-ish year old women who like went to college and started a career and are cool independent ladies who are just like, I'm just looking for somebody who believes the same thing as I do.
Well, they're in the wrong place if they want to be an empowered woman.
Well, not always. Not every church is the same, but
that's because you guys franchise.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no unity of faith. It's all just like whatever the guy in charge of the building wants it to believe. Yeah.
Pretty much. But so that just means that like it's like 10 of the coolest 30-something-year-old ladies and then a bunch of 47-year-old dudes who are either divorced, who have been have been single the entire time for reasons. That's what's in the singles group. And so when people are like, why won't you date a nice church boy? And I'm like, just, that scene in The Lion King where they're like, everything the light touches is really strange.
Perhaps like the inherent misogyny in their religion that causes the men to act in a way that is not desirable for young women.
To be honest, that is a huge part of it.
But the problem, like the thing is, like that was me, guys. 100% that was me. Like I had to like learn a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. But you were a divorcee that then found and married another woman of his same age who like had a similar life experience and you guys found common ground. You weren't like, which one of these 27-year-olds is going to come back to my farm? Like,
by the time I got divorced, I had left the church for sure, because that is the path. Yeah. That is the path. Like, no joke.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what they're whispering about. I know we went off track, but this was just kind of a fun conversation to have. That's what they're whispering about in the synagogue, is they're trying to like, well, that guy's single. Well, because they're just trying to set up Jessica. Because honestly, for as overbearing as her family is, I think they just want her to be happy, as evidenced by what happens later when she introduces Helen to everybody and they're just like, we just have questions and we're glad you're here.
Yeah, well, I do think it's the real big moment of that is her saying like, and we think she's great.
And we think she's great. Yes.
Like the reveal of like, we know you're dating a woman and we like her. Like, please don't hide her from us. You don't need to.
Right.
Like, it's so sweet. Yeah. But I in this moment, it does seem like we're just going to get her set up with a guy because we want her to have kids and we want her to be happy and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I do love the shut up, I'm atoning was great. Yes. I was like, what a great line. Lovely. But we come home to her apartment, which both is the actual right size of a New York apartment, but then set up completely impractically.
Yeah, but I did actually like this because it is like very small.
It's very small.
But that's like realistic to what your life would be like if you had just like a job as a copywriter.
Yeah.
I
mean, it is strange that she basically lives in a library, because literally she's got one room that's like her living area, which is big enough for like an easel, a few things of shoes on the floor, and then every wall is floor to ceiling books, which is bonkers. And then her kitchen, which is literally just a little tiny nook and an empty refrigerator. But then she's got a crazy red spiral staircase that goes to the next floor, which one would assume is her bedroom. We never go to that bedroom. Never even once.
I honestly assumed it was just like a loft with a bed
yes.
in it. Which if you've been
same.
in like New York apartments, that is a vibe.
Yeah.
That is something you will see a lot of. Because the whole thing's like 300 square feet. It's like a small place.
If that, it's so small. Yeah, yes. But we see her kind of drinking and painting, and then we see her get up the next morning, get ready, go to work, and she seems to be very kind of alone and unhappy and just kind of all over the place. We cut to her at work arguing about words. This is how we learn that she is a copywriter. She is very specific about the words she uses, specific about other people using words incorrectly. And boy, when I tell you that, like, at first I was like, maybe that's a little nitpicky. And then some of the words that got used incorrectly, I was like, nope, I'd be out of the state as well.
That's when Paige realized she's a real Jessica Stein. You know what I'm saying?
On some of these, this reminded me of in Fresh when she goes on those bad dates. And I was like, you're right, the bar is in hell.
Yeah, we do get a montage of bad dates, which are terrible, but it's funny. There's like a lot of comedy in there that I liked. Obviously, it's terrible if you're actually living that, though.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, that's basically what we get into. She's in the office for just a moment. She and Josh kind of get into it, where she's like, you just shredded this really interesting piece and you cut everything interesting out of it. We will get some context for that later. But she then finds out that her friend Joan is pregnant. Joan goes from telling everyone that she's pregnant, so I'm assuming at the end of her first trimester, to having that baby, losing the baby weight, and getting back down to just like walking around Joan's size in conservatively 6 months, which is crazy.
Well, it's easy to take off a pillow you have strapped to your midsections because the scenes you're filming today or whatever, which I don't, it doesn't look bad. That's not what I'm saying, but she's not really pregnant, but yeah.
It's just like, we're following the timeline of the main story, and they clearly were just like, where do we need Joan to be at this moment? No one's going to do the math about it. Yeah, no, Joan's had the baby.
Yeah.
Like, they just kind of pick and choose, which we will highlight it as we go. It was one of my favorite parts. Joan is a wild character in this movie.
I love Joan in this movie.
I
honestly
love
the radical acceptance. I love how animated she gets when reacting to the things her friend says.
Yes.
Like, she is just like the friend you want to tell the best story to.
I am a Joan.
Yes.
Where, like, I have had multiple people come out to me, and my response every time has been, tell me everything, and then just handing you a cold drink.
It's like that. It's like the combination of just like radical acceptance and just your friend being 110% here for the goss. Like, I can't wait for the gossip.
Yes.
And I love that energy. Joan is great, but her belly is the passage of time in this movie. It is there to visually cue us into how much time has passed since she was like, hey, audience, I'm pregnant. Keep that in mind.
But then my favorite is, we're also getting title cards for time passing, but those don't line up with the pregnancy clock. And that's what's so funny to me.
I swear to God, one of them said 3,200 BC. I don't even know. Like, why are we even looking at the title cards? Like, why do we need those?
They do them in 3-month increments.
Yes, they do.
I'll highlight when it happens, because we're supposed to, like, clock that it has been 3 months since. So, like, at this point, we find out Joan is pregnant.
Yeah, did we not see Jane's belly? We get it, Paige.
We see, okay, from this moment, 3 months from now in movie time, we see Joan again, and she is, like, pregnant with triplets. Like, it's massive, and she's like, I might, if my water doesn't break next week. And I was like, when did she tell people at work she was pregnant? Like, this
I mean, by this standard, she didn't tell people until she was 6 months in.
So she was 6 months pregnant, but is not showing at all.
No.
It's wild. Anyway, she kind of gets into it with Josh. This is our first introduction to Josh the asshole. Meanwhile, she gets a call from her brother. He's getting married, and she has this kind of reaction to it that we definitely know that she's like, oh, damn it. Like, I'm single again. He's getting married. Everyone's moving on without me, essentially, is kind of her vibe. In the synagogue scene where they were talking about like, oh, well, you broke up with Larry or you broke up with this person. So it seems like, A, there was a guy who proposed and then it didn't work out. And B, there have been a handful of guys that she's brought home to meet the family, and it's never quite worked out.
But they're painting in a way of like, your standards are too high.
Well, and you know what? Because this will come up in a bit when Josh kind of talks to her about it. So table that, because I want to talk about it when Josh brings it up, because I feel like two things can be true. We'll get to it when we get there.
I don't disagree, for the record. That's the way the movie frames all of that shit, which I'm not a fan of.
But we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah.
She goes home and she reads a Rilke quote about inertia. And it's basically like, the reason your relationships aren't working is because you're not open to trying new things. You're trying the same thing over and over, and you're getting the same result, which is, I think, a great quote. Just in general, for life, chef's kiss. Really amazing. I do think that is a huge reason for things that I have been happy about in my life, is trying new things and being willing to do something different.
Yeah, I do think personal growth is one of the foundational keys to happiness.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I feel like in my life, the older I have gotten, the more excited I am about new stuff sometimes, of like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go to Japan, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm like, I had a great time. And it always surprises me when I meet people who, like, and I don't mean this, like, Japan's a bad example. Not everyone can afford to go to Japan or whatever, but something as simple as like, hey, have you ever tried painting a thing or whatever? Like, this is a fun pottery class. Like, you'd be shocked how much you just, like, might enjoy shit, right?
Yeah.
And it shocks me whenever people are like, no, nothing new. And I'm like, well, this is why you're unhappy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, also the all of it. It's a tough time to be happy. You got to find novel things.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to like give it up, call a friend, and get into crafting.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I literally went over to our mutual friends, like Natalie and I have like another couple who we're really good friends with. And like, we literally went over there and I hung out with my good friend Lee and she crafted with Whitney and we had a blast.
There you go.
I was like, tell me everything about 3D printing because he's got one.
Oh, I want to know so much. I want to print everything.
Well, Paige, I know maybe 3%.
Great.
Here's what I do know. Gotta get myself a 3D printer.
That's what I'm fucking saying, Todd.
I learned about 3D printers. Natalie learned about decoupage. It was a pretty successful Saturday.
I love me some decoupage.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hi, I'm Beck Bennett.
I thought I was Beck Bennett.
No.
No,
It's
I'm Kyle Mooney.
Yes,
Sorry about that.
exactly. No, all good.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, and we host the show What's Our Podcast here on HeadGum.
This podcast is brought to you by
Squarespace.
Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and make you look like a kick-ass person online.
Like you're skateboarding
Or your
through
product.
the internet, or you're surfing through the web.
Squarespace gives you everything you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings with a professional website, grow your brand, and get paid all in one place.
I like that it's all in one place.
I know.
I like that I don't have to go around, to like different stores or something. It's just all on my
Well,
website.
it's like, do I need to go to do I need another type of website to like find the right pictures or to like another type of website to upload the
it's all in one place.
the video or
Yeah.
the audio or like it makes it easy. Make it easy on me, please.
Yes, and you can do all those things, photos, videos, changing fonts. The designs are amazing. They're catering to all your different needs. They're SEO tools, which I know what those are, and they're custom domains.
Oh, let's come up with a domain right now. I wonder if it exists. Friendsmeetingfriends.com. Okay.
That's an original thing that we came up with, friends meeting friends. Anyway, So check out squarespace.com/headgum for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code HEADGUM, save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Hell, sounds easy. Anybody could do it.
Anyway, we then cut through the montage of her bad dates.
Love it.
Where there's a guy who he's like super into the gym and that's how they met, but he's kind of creepy. But he's the one who uses words wrong, where he says endorphins, and I was like, no. And then he says self-defecating, and I was like, no, this would be a problem.
I don't know, Paige. I think he might have used that word correctly. It was just a gross admission.
I mean, what I would argue that most defecation, at least for me, because not to kink shame, but this is not part of my kinkery. Most defecation should be self-defecation. It should be done alone and in private.
Yeah.
Personally.
And maybe don't bring it up immediately on a first date.
Yeah, that's you got to test the waters.
He was trying to say self-deprecative.
Yes.
Like he makes fun of himself, which I thought, okay, is that a really funny joke she doesn't know him well enough to get? Because that's a way, I'm saying self-deprecative incorrectly because it's like making fun of yourself in a way. And then you realize that, no, he's just a moron trying to impress someone way smarter than him, which, yeah, it never goes well.
It's literally, if you've ever seen the Always Sunny episode where Charlie is trying to say that he's a philanthropist.
Yeah, he's a full-on rapist. Yeah.
He's a full-on rapist. Yeah. And everyone's like, what? And it's different from like, oh, I've only heard that word before, or I've only read that word before, because then at least you were reading it. This dude is completely off base.
He's never conceived of that word, nor knows what it means.
Correct. Yeah. And then you've got the guy who wants to split the arugula, but is like, I'd be happy to represent you as your accountant and
your
boyfriend.
Yeah.
I was like, no. But I did love the guy who was, I think the problem the movie's trying to get at is that he's just like talking about her body too much. But one of the things he says is like, I like the way your hair goes around your head like that. And I was like, what?
Oh, I thought that was just like making fun of guys who like just can't have a conversation really.
100%.
Which they're just like looking for anything to say but don't know what to say, and they're like super in their head about it. Which like I have a lot of empathy for that because I have been an idiot who like couldn't find anything to say and said dumb shit. But I wasn't as old as these people are when it's happening in this movie, but I've been there.
I've been there. What's the craziest thing someone ever said to you on a date? And a date that I would imagine did not work out.
Oh, Paige. I don't know how revealing we need to be.
I've got a pretty fucking good one.
I honestly don't know. Even the dates that have gone badly, they've been like, this isn't gonna work, right? Like neither of us are into like that. That's okay. It was great to meet you.
I wish that had been my experience. That has not been my experience.
And maybe it's just because like women who I've historically dated, like they don't blow up in aggressive or mean ways typically.
Sure.
They honestly are, because of society and like the way it is more dangerous for them just to exist. They are always trying to, in my experience, to like minimize and downplay and separate if things aren't going well.
Sure.
Which always leads to just like a really pleasant, polite conversation about how you're not into me or we're not into each other. And then we say goodbye.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember if I've told this on this podcast before, but one time I went on a date with a dude who was super late to the date. And the only reason I was still there is because I ordered food because I was like, I don't give a fuck if he's coming. I'm getting s'mores or whatever it was.
Who doesn't like a s'more date? That sounds amazing.
Well, it was like, I want to say it was like a s'mores sundae or something. Like it was a dessert place. Anyway.
Yeah, you said s'mores. I get it.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that sounds, but I would do the same, I guess is my point. Yes, I came here for s'mores and a date. I'm definitely not leaving without both.
That's what's up. And he showed up super late and he had been pretending to be Australian as we were talking before the date.
Yes. I love this.
And then showed up at the date and was not Australian.
He shows up and he's like, hello, mate.
That's how he was texting. It was like, good day, mate.
Well, yeah, but you can't text with an accent, Paige. So that's why he shows up and he's just like in an American accent, like, oh, hello,
like,
mate.
Hello.
It's funny.
Hello?
You're like, this is not right.
This is not right. And I was like, oh, hey, man, why don't you have an accent? Like, what's going on? I'm like, not that that's a deal breaker. I'm just curious or whatever.
He's like, I'm the Hemsworth brother that like was born in America.
Right.
Like I grew up here with my brothers as famous actors. So yeah, that's why I'm from Australia, but I have an American accent.
That's why I text in Australian and like just talk in English.
Yeah.
No, he was like, oh, I just have a lot of friends that are Australian, and that's why I text like that. And I was like,
name 6 motherfuckers. You don't have any friends. That's bullshit. That's an insane.
One is a huntsman spider. One is a giant snake.
That's an insane thing to say. No, I text because that's the way my friends text. So I picked up their habits.
That's not even the craziest thing this man said that night. Because then he proceeded to talk my ear off for the next 30 to 40 minutes about how much he liked positivity seminars.
That guy is gonna be he's in a cult to this day.
Guarantee it.
There's if you're that into positivity seminars that you're telling people about it on the first date,
guarantee
you're gonna be a victim of a cult.
And I'm sitting there like, holy shit, what a fucking psycho. And we like finished the date and he's like, hey, are you parked close? I can walk you back to your car. And thankfully I was parked like right there, like within sight of the restaurant.
Wait, is this the guy that like lifted you against a wall and kissed you?
Yes. And it was incredible. He was an incredible kisser. And then I was just like, and he was like, do you want to go somewhere in private? And I was like, no. I
mean, good kiss, but like we just met.
Not only did we just meet, I'm pretty sure you're a fucking serial killer. And so, but this was the craziest thing he said I was like, no, thank you so much. It was nice to meet you. And he's like, why don't we could just, and I was like, I don't want to have sex with you. And he was like, do you mind telling me why? And I was like, to be honest, I don't really think that we're clicking. I don't really feel the connection. Great kisser, but I think I just want to go home. And he just went, thank you for speaking your truth, and I appreciate your honesty. And then just walked away.
That was the time Paige dated Tony Robbins. Like, that sounds so crazy. Positivity seminar at the end there. Yeah. Down to the, would you mind telling me why you don't want to copulate with me sexually?
Would you mind telling me why? But to his credit, he was like, he took the no and was like, all right, you have a great night. Bye. I was just like, okay.
If I've learned anything from watching other dudes make a scene in that kind of moment, like, and just how stupid they look when they do that.
Correct.
Like, what you have to do is take the no graciously. Like, that's all you,
and
which is really easy if you frame it in the way of like, oh, well, she's not into me.
Yes.
And so she just saved me a bunch of time.
Yeah. Thank you for speaking your truth. I appreciate your honesty. Bye.
Yeah. Amazing. That guy is either a victim of or leading a cult right now.
Either one, and I cannot confidently say which. I'm so glad I'm married to my husband and don't have to do this anymore. It was bad.
Yeah, you almost could have ended up with Miscavige, it sounds like. Where do you think he picked up the Australian slang? It was while he was in the Sea Org, clearly.
So Australia is one of the few places that's like successfully banned the Sea Org.
Well, you got to.
You gotta. Otherwise, they're gonna throw all your women up against walls and kiss them into the Sea Org, I guess. I wouldn't recognize him on the street if I saw him. This was so long ago. But like, if I did and I ran into him and he was in a full Sea Org uniform, I'd be like, yeah.
That checks out.
Anyway, we cut to a gallery where Helen is hosting a show, and we see her have like 3 different boyfriends in this show. One is clearly a married sugar daddy. The other seems to be like a casual boyfriend sex hookup that doesn't know he's a hookup. I think he thinks he's a boyfriend. And then we have Michael Ealy, who's the delivery guy.
Yes. Yeah. And she's having sex with all of them. It's positioned at least that way. Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. I think one of them thinks he's her actual boyfriend, and he is like, oh man, I am barely keeping up with this lady sexually, but thank God I'm amazing at it. And I can satisfy this lady who really likes sex needs completely. And then doesn't realize that she's also having sex with 2 other guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think, because they're like, your one boyfriend's creeping everybody out, and that's like the sugar daddy one, who I think cucking is part of it.
He's also just like lurking and looking, which is always gross.
He's a real lurker.
Yeah. There's never any, it's not good.
It's not
when
good.
You lurk and look.
No.
Yeah.
But we do see her hook up with Michael Ealy, like during when she's supposed to be there at the gallery show.
Yeah, at work. She has sex at work.
Yes.
When it's busy.
Look.
That would be like back when I was a waiter being like, hey, table, fend for yourself. I'm going to have the longest 4 minutes of sex of my life to this point.
I got to go 86 this load. So sorry.
I got to go into the walk-in and back out. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll be fine. All right. But if we get stuck together, we went in the wrong one. That's we got in the freezer.
Oh no. Well, you guys are marrying ketchups. I'm having some unmarried relations in the lock-in. I'm a real clopener, if you know what I mean. That's for y'all. Service industry.
Man, and they do be hooking up like that, though.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
That's why Vanderpump Rules is so popular. I have not watched it. I have been influenced to watch it. I do not have the time. But like, yes, that is why that show is so popular, because the service industry be fucking, because they're poor and they eat, Todd.
I just realized I have no idea what Vanderpump Rules is. I honestly, until this moment, thought it was an exclamation about dope shoes.
I mean,
these Vanderpumps rule, Paige.
These Vanderpumps rule. 10-second description. Lisa Vanderpump was on one of the Real Housewives shows. I don't care enough to know which one. But she and her husband are restaurateurs. And so Vanderpump
And that's
Rules.
time. Sorry.
There you go.
That's the 10-second cutoff. Actually, I have no idea. I didn't start a timer or anything, but felt like it.
Vanderpump Rules basically just follows one of their restaurants and the staff at their restaurant.
Is it like a Yellow Deli situation?
No, but that'd be great.
It would be great. Speaking of cults.
Adding a cult element to Vanderpump
Yes.
Rules.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just young people working in the service industry fucking.
Yeah, that was my experience. Not with the fucking, though. Like, I was an idiot at the time and was like, oh, I'm above it or whatever.
I'm above it. I'm definitely not sticking my dick inside a mozzarella stick in the back.
But Paige, if you don't, it'll burn when you put it in the fryer. What is the outside of a cheese stick if not a cheese condom? Paige, it's all it is.
It's a crumb condom, yeah. And if you want to have hush puppies for balls, you got to use protection.
Baby, you better bring the breadcrumbs. You know what I'm saying?
We got to get back to them. Anyway.
We got to move on.
But while she's at the gallery, she kind of catches the eye of a woman who is there with her girlfriend. And they have this kind of like eye moment from across the gallery. We cut to the next day where Helen is talking to the gay couple that she owns the gallery with. And she's just like, I think I'm going to try ladies. And they're like, oh my gosh, yes, new experiences. Let's go. Like, all right. Yeah. And she's just going to put an ad in the newspaper because this movie is from old times.
Yes. It's like the personal section of the newspaper.
Oh my, which.
Wow.
I don't miss this time. The apps are not much better, but I don't miss the personals ads. But my favorite era of personals ads was Craigslist misconnections. You're familiar.
Yes, Paige.
Misconnections for you youngins was where you would just post on Craigslist where you had seen someone hot in the wild and hope that they were also checking it to be like, oh my gosh, that was me at that time. I'll respond to this total stranger who thought I was hot and see if we connect. And sometimes it was a thing of like, hey, we were talking in line and I forgot to get your information or whatever. But sometimes it was like, hey girl, I saw you from across the grocery store. That short dress was real short and I could see like the crease of your booty cheeks. Anyways, message me at 323.
Paige, can I quickly read you the best one I ever saw and I still have on my phone?
I'm wondering if it's the same one, but go ahead.
I guarantee you it's the same one. I'm not going to read you the title yet, but I'll end with that. The body of the misconnection is, you were the tall brunette with the near perfect body that farted in the bread section last night. I was the tall guy next to you that looked over and asked, was that you? You quickly replied, no, it wasn't me. You almost seemed insulted, I would ask. As the stink grew, you continued to deny your flatulence, but it was evident. I tried to get rid of the stench by waving 2 loaves of ciabatta bread. You proceeded to storm off in an angry manner. You are beautiful, and even if you are a liar and fart like a Clydesdale, I'd love to meet up. Oh, love that one.
I love that one.
Which this has to be like a comedy writer. Like that, I don't think this actually happened.
I mean, farts like a Clydesdale is poetry.
Yes.
I'm looking for, there's another one that is very, very, very famous. Oh, people are saying this one's a hoax.
I'm sure mine is a hoax. Like, I just 100%. There's no way that actually happened, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Who's going to wave ciabatta to get rid of a fart smell? Everything else sounds reasonable to me.
It's a very airy bread, but this one was, did we hook up at the Megadeth Motorhead concert? Women for Men, 28, Aragon Ballroom. Me, blue hair, silver tube top fishnets, knee-high, black biker boots. You, red mohawk, black pentagram gauges, viper piercings. And then it says, anyway, I'm pregnant. It's yours. Contact me if you want to be part of your child's life.
Wow.
That has always been one of my favorite ones.
Terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Anyway, she essentially puts an ad in the newspaper with a Rilke quote.
Yes.
That they say is about inertia, but it's not.
No, it's about trying new things, but whatever.
It is about trying new things. Like, that's not inertia.
Which I do think is wild that, like, because we cut to the paper.
Right.
And they're reading through the personal ads with Jessica because even her coworkers are like, you got to find somebody.
It's Jane. It's like our coworker friend Jane.
Joan.
Sorry. Yeah, Joan.
And she reads it and she's like, and we literally see Jessica be like, oh my God, Rilke. And then she's like, oh, it's Women for Women, whatever. And then like tosses the paper aside and leaves, which I would say, given that we know what that quote is, because we've heard it twice in the movie now, I feel like that should be an indicator, if you know that quote, that this is someone trying ladies for the first time.
Sure. Yeah.
That seems lost on Jessica later, but we cut to Joan's dinner party where she has invited her husband's friend, Charles, that she thinks is single. And then she also invites Josh to bring a date. Josh's date is wild.
I mean, Josh is terrible. Like, I don't know what his options are, really.
It's a real Janice from Friends situation.
It's not great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It ends badly for Jessica, too, though, because Jessica's date doesn't know he's a date, you know? And also just started dating someone he's like super into, you know? Like when they ask him a question, he brings it up.
Yeah.
You know?
He brings it up.
And it's Jon Hamm.
It's Jon Hamm, and it's young Jon Hamm too.
Yeah.
But I do love that, like, it's Jon Hamm, but he's dressed exactly the same way as his character on 30 Rock.
Yes.
It's almost like whoever wrote or costumed those 30 Rock episodes were like, all right, we need Jon Hamm from Kissing Jessica Stein.
Yeah, when was the last time Jon Hamm was in New York? Kissing Jessica Stein? Get it.
Do it.
Yeah.
But like, he's literally only in it for like one scene.
It's one scene. It's this one scene, yeah.
And here's the thing, even if he had been single, Jessica's not doing a lot for herself in this moment because she's spending the entire night complaining about how no one is good enough for her.
Right.
Which is a problem.
And maybe, honestly, Jon Hamm's character may not have met somebody, but he knew what this was and wanted to make it clear, I'm out.
Yeah, he's like, look, I met this blonde lady that smokes like a chimney and definitely is going to try to shoot the neighbors. Like, let's go.
I kind of ran into this lady at the grocery store and I waved 2 ciabatta breads at her and she like gave me her number. It's been great.
She farted like a Clydesdale.
It knocked me out of bed. Sorry.
Anywho, so she basically has monopolized the dinner, or at least that's what the movie kind of implies. She's monopolized this dinner. He is like, oh, I'm actually dating somebody else. And Josh is like, yeah, no worries, because honestly, the reason you're going to be single for fucking ever, Jessica, is because you're kind of a bitch. And you're like, wait, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Because Josh is the fucking worst.
Josh is the fucking worst. Now, here's the thing. Do I think that this is feedback that Jessica probably needs to hear? Yes. Do I think he's the one to deliver it? No. Do I think he delivers it in a kind and constructive way?
Also no.
No. Yeah. I feel like 2 things can be true. Josh is an asshole, and this is actual feedback Jessica needs.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're sitting across from like Jon Hamm,
right,
thinking no guy is good enough for me.
Right. Maybe it's time to not do guys.
I don't know how to say this more like another movie, but you're just not that into dudes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You can be into ladies. That's fine.
Yeah. Now, Josh says it in a very unkind way.
Yeah, he's a dick.
But essentially, he's like, every single man that you date, you find a reason to not be with them. Much like in So I Married an Axe Murderer, which is from the same era, give or take a few years. This idea of like, every girl you date, there's a problem. What was the problem with the what's-her-face? Oh, she smelled like soup or whatever. Like,
one of them literally stole his heart and his cat, Paige.
And his cat.
That man has been through it, all right?
It was Harriet. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Harriet, hard-hearted, harbinger of haggis.
Yeah.
But this is kind of where Jessica's at now, where now, admittedly, again, 2 things can be true. 1, all of the guys we saw in that montage were awful and not a fit.
I wouldn't want her to date any of them.
I wouldn't want her to date any of them either. But also, there are things that she is demanding of dates that potentially are unreasonable and will prevent her from maybe finding someone she might have a really good connection with. And I think that is valid feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have very strange expectations for what they should find when dating. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying don't have standards. I'm not saying that there aren't non-negotiables, right? But I am saying that sometimes there are things that they're not a thing that would really impact your happiness. Like, oh, I only date blondes. Well, that's fucking stupid. Like, you might find, A, most blondes are fake as adults. B, there might be a brunette that's perfect in every other way and you're not going to take her because she's not a blonde. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, where it's kind of dumb. And that's what she's kind of like, he mispronounced this one word. And I'm like, that's one word, right?
It becomes 2 very quickly.
It does become 2 very quickly. I'm not referring to that guy specifically, but...
And if you say a sentence where 30% of the words are mispronunciated,
yeah,
there might be a problem there.
There might be a problem, yes.
Yeah.
If he's just constantly putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllables. But it's basically her finding reasons not to date people. Now...
Not to date men, Paige.
Not to date men. That's what I was about to say. Of like,
yes.
I feel like a person who loves her and can give her this kind of feedback might say, it seems like an element of you not finding someone to be with might be self-sabotaged. Have you considered that maybe you don't want to be with these people and there's something else at the root of this?
That's why I, took he's just not that into you and flipped it to, you're just not that into dudes.
It's not that into dudes.
Because she needed a friend to tell her that.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the only friend she has is Joan, and Joan is too busy being full-blown pregnant.
Yeah.
She's got a lot going on. Joan is a very busy lady, and she can't be Jessica's matchmaker. But Jessica, off-screen, answers that ad that Helen placed.
Yes.
And goes to meet her in the coffee shop, and then is immediately like, oh no, I made a mistake. I don't want to do this. But Helen is kind of into her because we did see Helen get a couple crazy voicemails from that ad that are overly familiar, too intense right out the gate. And it is a similar vibe to the dates that Jessica is going on that are bad. They kind of meet in the middle of like, they've both had bad experiences, but suddenly here's a person that is attractive and seemingly normal. And so like, can we just have a conversation? And Jessica actively tries to get away. And Helen kind of like talks her back into the date of like, let's just go in, let's, have a couple glasses, and one glass turns into 2, turns into 3, etc.
Yeah.
Right. And then they end up going to an Indian restaurant, which I think it was on this show where it was like Pete Davidson and a girl where she keeps resetting time to have the perfect date.
Yeah.
But they go to like an Indian restaurant like this that is just like Christmas lights, Christmas lights, Christmas lights. I desperately want to go to one of those. The next time I'm in New York, I will find one.
They had a live sitar player. I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
This place is doing it.
It's great. But so they go out for Indian food. They get into a cab to basically ride home. And they are kind of like talking, or I guess they get into the cab to the Indian place.
Yeah, they're heading there. And they like talk about makeup.
Yeah, Viva Glam.
Yeah, I thought it was really like a cute way for them to let each other know that they find each other attractive, because that's sort of like the subtext of the scene. But they're just talking about makeup and they're like, well, you look amazing in it. And they're like couching their attraction to each other in the like, your makeup looks amazing. But like, you can feel like what's actually being said. Like they're doing a good job with it. But I liked that scene a lot, actually.
I also really liked because in the scenes that we saw her going on dates with men, they always went to the same restaurant, the same place. The dates never last long. It's not great.
Yeah.
And this, it's like, okay, we're 2 locations in. They're different from the places she normally went. The conversation is flowing. They're having a good time. There's clearly chemistry here. And this is when they walk past after dinner. They're kind of walking back to their apartments and they walk past a group of Hare Krishnas. Now, this is a part of the movie where the movie occurred in the past to know things that we know now and tries to make a point with the Hare Krishnas that is ill play. It's a good point, wrong starting point, because essentially Helen's view is like, they're just dancing and chanting. They're not hurting anybody. That could make me happy. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. And Jessica's pushback is, I know myself well enough to know what I will like and I won't like. And what Helen is trying to tell her is, some things might surprise you. Some things that you wouldn't expect you would like, you might end up really liking. For example, the other day I went to that show that I can't talk about and I had popcorn with hot Cheetos and Sour Patch Kids all at the same time.
Yeah.
And damn, was it fucking delicious. Did I buy Sour Patch Kids, hot Cheetos, and an air popper to do it at home? Yes. All I'm saying is you never know what you might like. And I don't necessarily think you have to try every single thing on earth. Like, I'm not rushing out to try heroin to see if I like it. But I am saying be open to trying new things, because sometimes things will surprise you. And that's what Helen's trying to say. However, she's like, see, we could try being Hare Krishnas. They absolutely shouldn't. The people that they are depicting is like, see, they like being on the street and chanting. They don't. A lot of them were forced to be there and often did not have papers or documents, could not freely move, were forced to sell things on the streets. And part of the reason that that doesn't happen as much anymore is because they were doing it at airports, which prompted an investigation. It's a whole thing. We did like 3 episodes on Cult Podcast about it. But a lot of that happened after this movie.
Can't believe a cult would take advantage of people. That's crazy.
Who would know? Who could have predicted that one?
Wild.
Yeah. And again, not every single international Krishna consciousness organization is bad. But like at this time, when they were still pretty unified, not great. But I do think Helen's point stands of like, be open to new experiences. And this is what prompts Jessica to be like, no, I know myself and I know how I'd react to everything, which is a lie. And Helen is like, everything? Cool. And then kisses her and is like, guess you're right. I'm going home. Bye. But she does have Jessica's number.
Yeah, she has it on the back of the matchbook. Yeah, because she already gave it to her.
But we cut to the next day where Jessica's been letting that experience marinate and she's much happier at work. She brings donuts. Josh tries to kind of bait her into an argument, and she's just like, oh, yeah, well, whatever.
He actually is trying to apologize.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I think it bothers him
that she doesn't care.
That she doesn't really need an apology. She's just like, no, I think you might have been right, honestly. Like, I don't care that you were an asshole to me. That's just you, Josh.
Right.
Future husband.
Gross.
Yeah, I hated the end of this movie so much because he's terrible the entire movie.
He's awful. But we cut to Helen, who's being eaten out by boyfriend number 2 and is not super into it and looks at the matchbook with Jessica's number and is like, I'm going to call her. So she calls Jessica and Jessica comes over because obviously Jessica let that kiss marinate and was like, oh, I maybe am into this, I think.
She should have washed her face. Like, if the kiss was still marinating,
sure,
you need to shower.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time you washed your face? It's been days, ma'am.
I mean,
if her saliva is still on your face, you got a dirty-ass face. I'm just saying it.
You just got to put saran wrap over your mouth and then to just keep it on your mouth, to hold on to it forever.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, barf. Gross. I got a dental day on my lips because somebody kissed me.
I guess you're not a romantic then.
Without my consent, mind you.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But she did consent to come over to the house this time, and so she did.
I'm not saying it didn't go well. A lot of first kisses don't start with, hey, I'm going to kiss you. Is that okay? And I understand that.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes they do, and that's all right.
Yes, that's fine. But she brought pamphlets of like, here's the things I know about gay sex from books and pamphlets, because the internet is not, she's not into email, so she doesn't know that a lot of this information is available online. And she doesn't have a smartphone where she could discreetly look at it at work or whatever.
Paige, I'd argue that the internet was so new at the time that this type of information was 80% of what was online at the time.
Yes, 100%. Yep. At least documentaries about it, but it would have taken her forever to download them.
I'd call them more short films.
Yeah. Short documentaries.
And honestly, it was probably more short photos. Like, it was slow internet back in the day.
Yep. But she has, and the movie shies away from showing it where it's like, I feel like they have accessories, which it's implied that it is a strap-on. And Helen is kind of like not that surprised by it. She's just like, yeah, okay.
She is way more sex forward.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like in her need for it. Like, she also has like gay friends and like is just open, I think, to like new sexual experiences way more than Jessica is. So like it made sense to me that she would know the accoutrement that was available for sex.
Yeah.
And Jessica was approaching this very analytically. It was this scene where I looked at my wife and was like, hey, this is just like, and I'm not going to say her name, but a lady I used to work really close with at my last job. I was like, does she, not the way she looks, does she remind you of ex-coworker friend of mine? And we were like, yes, Jessica is that person 100%. Because they're the kind of person who would show up to a sexual experience with like
pamphlets,
cited notation resources for them to help guide them along the process. I actually loved this about this person. It's like one of the reasons I loved having them on my team. But she was just that kind of nerd. And like, I think her anxiety was alleviated when she over-prepared for things.
You know what? And hey.
And that's the way Jessica shows up to this. She was so anxious that they might have sex. She had to learn everything about it.
Everything.
Yeah.
I would rather that than the alternative. Like, I'd rather somebody be like, so I looked into this or whatever.
Listen,
that's fine.
I don't think it's weird necessarily. That's not what I'm saying. I think I would take more of the approach that Helen takes, which is much more like
we'll
let's just see
out.
Where it goes and see what it's like for us together, Right. And sort of discover that in the moment.
Yes.
Which I don't think either of them is wrong, but that'd be more my approach probably.
Yeah. And essentially that is what they eventually end up doing, where they just end up making out for like 2 weeks straight.
Well, because she's like, Jessica is, I mean, I kind of feel bad for her because when she shows up, she's just like, well, how do we have sex if there's no dick? Which like makes me so sad for her.
Yes.
Because like your friend group has failed you.
Your boyfriends have failed you. Everyone in your life has failed you to a degrry.
Well, and you're not wrong. Her previous boyfriends have also failed you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
absolutely.
To be not even able to fathom what sex is without a dick is insane to me.
Yeah.
But so she has to like really ramp up to being okay with like every stage of the sexual process, which also made me kind of sad, like for both of them. Because it's not like, let's just take it slow, because I don't want to rush into anything physically. It's like, the very idea of this freaks me out so much.
Right.
We have to like stop at times, you know? I'm not saying that that's not someone's lived experience at all, because
I'm sure it is people's lived experience.
She literally is going against something that like she feels like makes her, I don't know, when she talks to Joan and like Joan realizes she's gay and she's like radically accepting it.
Right.
But before that's revealed, she's like, do you despise me now? Like she is internalized the fact that if she does this, people will despise her.
Which is wild.
That makes me so sad, you know? So I'm sure that this is like a thing people go through.
Sure.
Even though they do want to have a sexual experience with another person of their same sex. It just makes me sad, you know, like it bummed me out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and again, it is internalized, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think she logically knows it's not real.
Yes.
Like it's not, I don't need to care about that, but she can't stop herself from caring about it. So she has to ease her way into that stuff, which is very sad.
I think it's actually a byproduct of the things that her mom brings up later in the movie. And this is something she should talk to her therapist about, because I feel like this idea of if I am anything but perfect and whatever I have defined as perfect, everyone else will hate me. No one cares, right? Like no one else is paying that much attention to you, just in general.
Yeah.
Right? And so like this stems from that too, because she has identified this idea of heteronormativity as being air quotes perfect, where it's like, well, no. And clearly she doesn't have anything. We don't see many gay people in her circle, which is unfortunate, because I feel like that might have helped.
It definitely would have helped.
Yeah, it seems like she doesn't dislike or disagree with gay people. She just could never fathom herself as being one. And it's because she defines it as imperfect, which is a problem. Like that's a huge issue. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's real sad.
In some ways, if we think of like Heath Ledger's character in Brokeback Mountain, it's somewhat of the same, where he's just like, I can come up to the mountain with you. We can have sex. You're the longest relationship I've had in my entire life, but I'm not fucking gay. And you're like, buddy, please love yourself. And I understand that is a very different scenario where there is absolutely risk of death in doing that.
I agree, yes, but also you want both of these characters to love themselves. That's why it bummed me out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the want for the character is the same, even though one is much more dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we cut to, she does basically say like, hey, okay, in like 10 days or 2 weeks, like we'll work our way up to it. We cut to Helen in the gallery with her coworkers, the co-owners of the gallery, essentially.
Yeah.
And they are moving a kick-ass Venus de Milo painting that I was like, oh, that would look dope in my house. But she is complaining about Jessica and being like, I can't believe we're waiting so fucking long to have sex. I'm going crazy. But then when she answers the phone to talk to her, she's just like, yeah, hi. No, 8 o'clock is perfect. And is like very soft and capitulating. And all of the, like, her friends are like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you were complaining. You want this girl. Like, you totally do.
Have you seen the Key and Peele sketch where he's like talking about, they're
And
like
I
trading
said,
off?
"Bitch."
Yes. It's very much that. It's like the performative, like, whatever, she's a tease. I'm over it. And then she answers the phone and she's like, yeah, so you'll be ready at 8? No, that's great. No, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's great. Would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll be right there.
Yeah, I'll see you tonight, sweetie. It's like that. It's that honestly code switch.
Yes.
That's all that is.
Yes.
But yeah, it's it's so funny to me, and they immediately call her on it because you can't do that kind of shit with your gay besties and expect to not get roasted for it.
100%. But we cut to, they have a very cute date, and after the date, they end up going to Jessica's office where unfortunately they run into Josh and she defaults to, oh, this is Helen, she's my friend. And Josh is like, yeah, we dated in college.
Immediately, he pees all over her metaphorically.
Everyone.
Yeah.
He tells everyone that they dated in college.
He's like, oh, this chick, yeah, she's the one I sidelined. So when we both came to New York, I could just plow through these sheets.
Ugh.
And then when I'm ready, I'm going to come back and pick her up off the waiver wire. Like, that's his vibe. I hate Josh so much.
I hate Josh so much. But we cut to, Helen goes to the bathroom. We cut to another date, another day. And they are out eating, assuming Chinese food because they have fortune cookies. And two guys from the bar are like, hey, pretty ladies, we were having a very pickup artist nonsense. And
okay,
Helen
hang on. Okay, so this is what happens. Two dudes walk over and they're like, hey, like we're arguing about something. Help us figure this out or whatever, right? And I have a very good friend who was very successful. He's married now, has a daughter, doing great. When we met each other, we were both kind of dirtbags. Anyway, and we had this bit where we would go to a bar, and then if he was like, hey, I'm into that blonde over there, I'm gonna go say hi. And I was like, what are you gonna do? And he'd be like, I'm gonna stick with what works, man. And what worked for him was, hey, settle a bet for me. And then
so dumb.
Literally, but Paige, here's why it worked every time. The settle a bet for me was so outlandishly silly, it made them laugh. So like the one I remember that I clearly remember, there was a lady and she had like what looked like a big lunch, like a brown lunch bag rolled up. And it was just next to her and she was talking to a friend or whatever. And he walked over and I heard him from like 20 feet away. Settle a bet for me. There's a severed head in that bag, right? And she just laughed. He got her number. They didn't date, but it worked. He was so good at picking up the bet that was funny. So like it worked.
I mean, that is great. I in that situation might have responded, about to be a severed dick if you don't back up.
And there are times it went badly, but he was really good at graciously taking the no and walking away.
That is
He
nice.
would commonly offer to buy them a drink and then leave. That was his play.
Sure. That settle a bet for me was a thing pickup artists used to teach.
Oh,
so I've
sure.
had many men do it to me. And I had a policy, and it was my favorite thing in the world, is that a dude would be like, settle a bet for me. And I'd just go, no. And then just stare directly at them.
What you should say is, oh, why? Because you can't solve your own problems?
You need a woman to do it for you? Yeah, we are better detectives. Like, just whatever. I know what's in this paper bag.
Nobody talks about Sherlock Holmes.
Herlock Holmes.
Damn it, that is better. Fuck.
She is great because it's the same letters. But yeah, Herlock Holmes. Anyway, they come up, settle a bet for me. Which one of yous two is more beautiful? Bullshit. They don't have a fun bet. They didn't talk about severed heads. Talking about severed heads wins points with me.
Anything that makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, guys, or anyone who's trying to pick up anybody. They don't give a shit about you. They're weirded out you're talking to them. And if you don't provide value somewhat immediately, it's not going to go well. And conversationally, providing value is making a joke or making them feel safe or whatever that is. If you don't do that, it's not going to go well. So if you walk over there with a self-serving settle a bet for me and it's not funny, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're just annoying two ladies or a lady or whatever.
Exactly. Now, Helen takes the bait, but is doing it to kind of like mess with them a little bit because under the table, she's feeling Jessica up. I kind of love this.
Well, it's just the two dumbest dudes you've ever met.
Yes.
Being forced to explain why they're into like lesbian porn, for lack of a better term.
Right.
You know, like what do you find sexually attractive about two women
together engaged
in like that?
Right.
You know, and they're like, well, it's just like, it's like bodies.
They're soft.
And they like touching bodies. And it's
I'm kind of a lesbian myself. Like that kind of dickishness.
Gross. I don't know.
Fucking
like
gross.
That's fine if that's for you. It's just not for me. There's nothing sexy about two women that don't want me around.
Yeah, no,
you know
you're like, I should leave them to it.
Yeah, like I don't want to. I just would feel awkward. I'd be like, guy, I'm happy to go. You clearly don't need me. I don't want to be listen, I don't want to be the guy with his thumb out here. You know, like I'm happy to go.
Can I let you in on something? Sometimes I appreciate those kind of pornographies because I'm pretty sure both women are having fun.
Oh.
And that's not always the case in other pornographies.
Yeah. I'm not even just talking about pornographies in general. Just like the fantasy of two women being together is never one I've had because it's not.
You're like, you guys have fun. I'll go get some nachos and I'll be back later if you need me, you know, or whatever.
Yeah. If you guys ever need, just like text or whatever. I'm happy to leave. Like, you don't need me, clearly.
Right,
like
right,
that's
right.
It's just not sexy for me.
You got it covered, you know?
Yeah. Because, like, not to sound like a song, but I kind of want you to want me, you know? Like, it doesn't do anything for me if you don't want me there.
Yeah, right?
Anyway.
But I really liked this idea of, like, if I was Jessica, I would have also been very turned on by this. This idea of, like, look at these fucking assholes, but you're here with me.
There's a reason after this conversation, they, like, check please and, like, rush back to Helen's place to, like, you know, have... I think this is going to be the first time they have sex, but then
fucking Greg,
the delivery man, comes to deliver a load, I guess, or whatever. And she leaves, and Jessica leaves, which made me sad because, like, Jessica has to have known that Helen was going to, like, get rid of him.
Yeah. Oh, well, Helen says, she's like, I want him to leave. I want you to stay. She very clearly communicates it. She's like, let me go get rid of him.
Yeah.
You stay. And Jessica is like, no, I'll go. But literally, no sooner has Jessica left that Helen sneezes and we reveal that Helen is sick. Now, this actually goes back to something that she said on her first date.
Yeah, I remember this.
Where she's like, I have like a roster of dudes. I call different dudes for different stuff. And Jessica says, well, who do you call when you're sick? And she's like, I don't get sick. But the implication being, you have all of these people for sex or dates or romance, but you have no one to care for you in your most vulnerable moments.
Yeah.
So in this moment, and I think in some ways, this is a little more vulnerable than sex, which is why it's weird when they end the movie the way they do. Yeah. But Jessica comes over and cares for Helen while she's sick and is like, I'll take care of you. Like, I know you said you never get sick, but like, I'm here for you. I'm in, basically.
Yeah.
Now we cut to Helen has booked them a hotel and she goes to surprise Jessica at work. However, Jessica has Shabbos dinner with her mom because her brother's in town. He's announcing that he's engaged. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Also, Judy ends up calling, but Jessica's not at her desk. Josh picks it up. That's how he finds out about the wedding. And her mom invites him to dinner because he is a family friend.
Yeah.
Then outside in the cab, Jessica's like, well, I'll call and cancel. But Jessica can't say no to anyone. It is part of it's the perfectionism and people pleasing within her.
Yeah.
And so she calls her mother. And I do love that her mom's like, put Helen on the phone.
Yeah.
Put Helen on and is like, I'll get you tickets to Cabaret or whatever next week, but you're coming to dinner. So now everyone's coming to dinner.
Right.
Which I kind of love. This gave me a lot of like warm fuzzies for the time that my husband met my family on our first date.
Well, this is their, maybe not their 10th date, but it's the 10th day since they started experimenting with all of this.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still early. It's very early.
Yes, very early.
And meeting the parents is a big thing. But also they get to the house and her mom is clearly trying to set her up with Stanley. Now, Stanley, again, software designer for IBM in the 90s, boatload of money.
What he is working on literally becomes Photoshop.
Yes. Yeah.
That man would be a billionaire. I'm not saying that, like, she shouldn't be with men. I'm just saying there definitely is, if you're looking at the men in this movie, a best, a good, and a bad option, and she ends up with the bad option.
Correct. Because I would say best is IBM man who could set her up for life, marry him and then divorce him 3 years later and take half of it, girly. And then good is we somehow sabotage Michelle so she can be with Jon Hamm. And worst,
exactly,
Josh.
Yeah.
He's the worst. But Jessica hates computers because she feels like they're impersonal. However, I would argue that her commitment to perfection is also keeping her from personally relating with people. That's why at the end, the computers aren't the problem. Jessica's Outlook was the problem.
Right. And not her email. We're not talking about her Outlook email.
Right.
Her Outlook on life.
Her outlook on life. But she does get caught in the kitchen with her mom And her mom is like, just be nice to Stanley. Isn't he gorgeous? Which, all respect to Stanley, no.
No, but he's gonna be rich as shit.
He's gonna be so
sometimes
fucking
people
rich.
overlook that. And if that's what they can do and they're happy to do that, happy for him.
But this is the conversation where she's like, Mom, everyone you've set me up with has gone badly. You just want me to be with someone, you don't care who. And her mom is kind of like talking to Helen about it. And she's like, Helen, you're gorgeous. I bet you got guys lined up. And she's like, you know.
I mean, she literally does. So she could have said yes.
She could have said yes
to this, but she doesn't because she feels like she's in a relationship with Jessica. Yeah.
But there's a huge storm. Everyone has to spend the night, which means that Helen and Jessica have to spend the night in her twin bed, which I do think is so funny when her mom's like, will you be okay? And we'll be okay. Are you sure you can fit? Oh yeah, we'll fit. Like, it'll be fine. Poor Stanley has to go sleep in one of the guest rooms.
Yeah.
And then this is the scene on the couch with Josh, which also is the like biggest red flag in the world for why she shouldn't be with Josh, but she doesn't see it because she is having sex with Helen in her twin bed, gonna do it on the twin bed.
I thought it was really funny that they were like, I think we'll just barely fit. I think we'll be all right, Mom.
I think we'll just barely fit.
Yeah.
I think we'll be all right. But we then cut to the couch where her brother is like, how's your writing going, Josh? Because they're old friends.
Yeah.
Maybe lovers. Who knows? The movie doesn't say that. I just want that to be the case. But Josh is like, I don't write anymore. I'm an editor now. So I just cut down other people's writing. And anytime I'm frustrated that I can't create things, I make other people feel bad. And you're like, this man is toxic as fuck.
Yeah.
Run away. Run away. Yeah. He's a bad man. But we cut to 3 months later. Jessica walking around the office is clearly happier. It's showing on her face. It's showing on her outfits. It's showing everything. And everyone's like, she's definitely seeing somebody, but she doesn't say anything. And then Joan kind of corners her. Joan at this point, by the way, 3 months later. So potential, like, that means she didn't tell the office until she was like 6 months pregnant because she is like 12 months pregnant now.
Right.
She's so pregnant.
Yeah.
But she basically is like, tell me about the person you're seeing. Let's do brunch. And like, if I don't, if my water doesn't break, and okay, maybe not that, maybe next week or whatever, definitely whatever.
Yeah. Either way, let's get together soon. It like puts a ticking clock on her revealing the relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
But Jessica says, she's like, oh, he and I are pretty great. And Josh overhears it and he's really upset because again, he cannot be happy if she is happy without him. He will murder her someday. It's awful. It's really awful.
He's literally a scary dude.
Yes. Anyway, we cut to, he does kind of confront her a little bit and she's just like, be happy for me, all right? Whatever. We cut to Helen and her two gay best friends and they basically are like, hey, or one of them is, I don't think you're gay. I think you're just trying this on. And the other is like, people find their people and find their vibe at different times in life. It's a spectrum. You can't judge her that way.
Yeah.
But this is where they bring up, they're like, why haven't we met her? Like, she's going to be an artist in the show. Because she saw Jessica's painting in her parents' house and whatever.
Yeah.
And they basically are like, y'all are not living out as a couple, so we don't think this will last. We think that's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
We then cut to Jessica and Helen out shopping on the weekend when they basically said, Jessica said she wasn't doing anything over the weekend, but it's because she was spending the weekend with Helen.
Right.
But they're out shopping. They run into Joan, but they run into Joan as Helen is like, hey, why don't you ever make noise when we have sex? And why won't you introduce me to people? Like, she's bringing it up for the first time of like, are you in this or is this still an experiment for you?
Yeah. I do think that's the wrong, very public place to have both of those conversations for different reasons.
Sure.
But like neither of those conversations should be had very publicly.
Right. But Joan, she introduces Helen to Joan. It's like, this is my friend Helen. But then we immediately cut to Joan in her apartment.
Yeah.
Where she's just like, lesbians? And tell me everything. Oh my God, tell me everything.
Yeah.
And Jessica has a near fucking breakdown in where she's like, you think I'm disgusting? And she's like, no, what? I didn't say that. Do you think you're disgusting? Like, you should talk to your therapist about that maybe. Like, this is
right.
Where's that coming from? No one else in your life would address you that way or feel that way, as evidenced by what we'll see later in the movie. But like, are you okay? And she's just like, no, should I just call her and break it up? And she's like, I don't think so. Why don't you tell me about, like, is it going well? And she's like, it's going great. The sex is great. We laugh a lot. I feel like she really gets me. She's smart. We really click. And Joan, I think, is like, oh, yeah, you should definitely break up with her, sarcastically.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah. She's like, oh, this is the best relationship you've ever had. Go, then you definitely need to break up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you. But we cut to her trying on what I would assume is a bridesmaid's dress for her brother's wedding.
Yeah.
And her mom is like, oh, I called Helen to come to lunch with us. That is a very overbearing mom thing to do, is to make friends with your friends and then invite them out to lunch. And sometimes it's great. But in this case, it now reveals that Helen has been kept completely out of the wedding planning or information entirely because Jessica was not going to bring her to the wedding.
Yeah.
And her mother was like, well, I invited Helen to the wedding. Why wouldn't Helen come to the wedding? Because she's your best friend. You talk about her all the time. Like, whatever.
She literally asked Helen, did you not get the invite?
Did you not get the invite?
Like, she sent it her one.
Right. We then cut to outside this dress shop through windows that are not soundproof, where Helen and Jessica have a very impassioned argument of, hey, if you're not willing to be with me publicly and out, then I can't be in this relationship, which is very difficult because, like, you can't determine when other people come out. They may not have a safe family the way that Jessica does, right? Like,
although she doesn't know that yet, but yes.
She doesn't know that yet.
Yes.
There's a lot of factors that might impact why someone might come out or not. This is very similar to Scott and Kip in Heated Rivalry, with the idea that everyone deserves sunshine, including you, of like, hey, I love you. I deserve to be loved publicly by you. And if that can't be part of our relationship, then I can't be part of that relationship. And I think that's a fair boundary to draw, even if it is difficult. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, there are people who put up with it way longer than Helen put up with it.
True.
You know, and that makes me sad.
It does make me sad because I also believe Helen deserves sunshine.
Me too.
And I do.
Me too.
There's obviously a level of understanding for people who cannot safely come out, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that would be very different.
That's a reality, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Helen deserves sunshine.
Yeah.
But so they essentially break up. They go on with their lives. Helen still opens the show, the art show that has Jessica's art in it. And Josh shows up looking for Jessica and then sees her painting and is like, I've got a right now because I can't let her be the creative one. And then meanwhile, Jessica's at the rehearsal dinner.
He brings flowers the opening night of the show, which should be a clue that he's like into her romantically again. But that's also like, I don't know. You kind of do that kind of stuff.
You do that
at gallery openings like that, especially opening night.
Yeah.
So it's maybe not a full clue, but they're like red roses. So like it's pretty clear. Like you kind of know at this moment it's going to happen.
Right.
And by it, I mean the kiss at the wedding.
Yeah.
Not that they were going to end up together.
Yeah.
I was grossed out by that.
Yeah. We also find out that Joan had the baby just via voicemail.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's tough. Like, we see her planning the wedding. We see Helen being sad. We then cut to her at the rehearsal dinner where her brother makes a really lovely, sweet toast. And she steps outside, basically is like, I need a minute. Her mom comes out. And as she and her mom are sitting on the porch, we cut back to the gallery. And this is where Helen says, it's interesting that Jessica takes such risks in her work, but not other places. And he's like, yeah. And then he goes home and writes. And I just have in my notes, I don't really care about his story. Unfortunately, I didn't see the ending coming.
Me either.
Yeah. We cut back out to the porch with her mom. And her mom tells a story about essentially at one point, Jessica was going to be the lead in the school play, but dropped out because she didn't think that her scene partner was good enough. So they gave the role to somebody else and the play was terrible. And her scene partner actually did really well. And her mom is like, I think you would have had a better time being in that play and it being imperfect than you would have being perfect.
Yeah.
And like, that is something you might need to recognize about yourself. And at this point, I was like, she needs to tape record this and play it back for her therapist. But I do think her mom is right of like, you would have been happier doing the play even if it wasn't perfect. And maybe it would have just been good and you would have had fun. Nothing has to be the best ever. You never know. You never know how good something could be if you're afraid to take the chance. And then she basically pauses for a moment and says, I think she's a very nice girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't even need, we know who she's talking about.
Of course.
Jessie knows who she's talking about. It was very, very sweet. She gives her a hug. So then she rushes back to the city, goes to Helen's door and is like, I'm wearing this dress. Do you want to wear the dress I'm wearing to this wedding tomorrow?
Yeah.
And she's like, absolutely, let's go. And we then cut to the wedding next day, and everyone is literally like, are you the lesbian? Welcome. We have questions. Tell us everything, which is a lot.
It is.
That's very intrusive. You do not need to interrogate your gay friends.
Right. And please don't.
Please don't.
Helen gets cornered by a bunch of like older ladies at the wedding, and they're like, well, you can get artificially inseminated and so can she, and then it's like double the babies, and you're like, what is happening right now? This is too much too soon.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Too much. And I do like that she just goes, excuse me, I have to pee, and leaves. But then we cut to, and this scene gave me the ick immediately. Josh is like, come see the view, and drags Jessica over to this like balcony.
It's literally upstairs. Like it's floors above where they are having the wedding.
Right. And he's like, take my jacket, which is absolutely a marker of like possession.
Yeah.
Like it's gross. It's weird.
That may as well have been his letter jacket from high school.
Yes.
It's like that vibe.
But he literally in this scene is like, I saw you so happy and it made me angry because you were happy without me. And it's like, run away, Jessica. But he's like, then I started writing because I saw that you were doing a creative thing, so I should do a creative. And I was just like, this is, and in my notes, I just have, what a useless B plot. Because again, I did not see the end coming. And I was like, get rid of this man.
Do you mean Josh as a person is just a useless B plot? Like that guy is the worst.
Yeah.
His favorite vocal warm up is me, 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 me.
Yes.
Like he's that level of narcissist.
Yes. And I have in my notes just a couple lines later, what? He's been an asshole this whole time. And he then kisses her, much in the way that Helen did earlier.
Yeah.
But it's obvious instantly in the moment that she's like, no. Which is why the ending is so weird. Because she's like, no, I can't go out to dinner with you because I'm with Helen. I'm like, with Helen. And he's like, oh, weird.
Yeah, he literally, like, the first time she says, I can't go to dinner with you, I'm with Helen, he goes, what, like you're having dinner with her? Like, he's like, so dumb, he doesn't understand sentence construction.
Yeah.
He was her boss as a copywriter.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. At this point, she walks away and she and Helen hand in hand walk back to the wedding. And in my notes, I'm like, good, fuck him. And I assumed that this was going to be the end of the film. And then I looked and there was 14 minutes left. And I was like, for what? What are we doing?
I assume scissoring, but no, it's not. It is a bunch of fighting and then breaking up.
Look, I have many a lesbian friend who have told me that scissoring is impractical. Anyway, to each their own.
I think it probably is.
A lot of legs. Anyway, but we then cut to, they move in together. And they don't have nearly enough boxes of books based on the amount of books she had in her apartment. That would have been the move from hell. But they get a goldfish together. They have like wine with the gallery owners. And it seems like they have like 3 months where they've moved in together, where everything seems great. But then they settle into after the honeymoon period, where maybe they're not having sex as often and they're, just kind of going through the motions in their day-to-day life.
I mean, I understood.
Like a relationship.
Yeah. Again, I do think Helen's problem and the reason she's still single is because she's in love with the first 6 months of a relationship.
Sure.
Not any one person specifically.
Sure.
And she's going to forever be in that cycle. But I also understand why you're like, hey, we haven't had sex in a month. And like, that's like, I need that in the relationship. Like I didn't think she had her reasons for wanting out that weren't valid,
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think they should have ended up together because I don't think they're a good match personally long term because of largely Helen in this moment.
Yeah.
But I also think Helen's going to get what Helen needs to feel loved. And so like she has to, she knows this isn't going to work for her. So she has to leave, even though in that moment she even says like, I love you. The fact that we love each other is not the problem.
Right. She's like, we are the best of friends. Like, we are best friends, but I need this sexual component.
But we're just roommates, really. Yeah. And like, I don't need a roommate.
Right. But at this point in My notes I just have this last 10 minutes undermines everything.
Everything. Yes, I agree.
We cut to Jessica's handing out flyers to try and get like an artist studio share so she has a place to paint. She runs into Josh in the store and she's like, oh, Helen and I broke up because she dumped me. And he's like, yeah, what was it? And she was like, I think she needed me to be a little more gay. That's not what it was, but fine. And like they exchanged new numbers, the implication being that they are going to then reconnect, which I hate. But then she comes out of the bookstore and meets Helen for lunch and they're like best friends, which I do love. I just don't like that Jessica's going to be with Josh.
And that's the movie. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you think about Kissing Jessica Stein?
I really enjoyed it up till the last 10 minutes.
Same. I liked it fine. Until the last 10 minutes, and then I kind of hated it, honestly. Like, I really hated the Josh thing at the end.
Yeah.
So much. I wish they had just ended it with, like, at the end of the wedding, them moving in together, and that was, like, credits.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed that a lot more.
Yeah.
But, no. We ended up with Josh because he's the worst. But, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, here it is with your fun facts.
Jessica,
Jon Hamm, fun facts.
The cab scene where Helen and Jessica talk about blending lipstick was filmed after the filmmakers hailed a cab, paid the driver $20, and the director drove the cab. The DP was in the front seat filming over the seats, and the sound woman climbed into the back trunk to run the sound through the middle seat.
That's awesome, honestly. I love like old school renegade filmmaking like that is dope as shit.
It's amazing.
Like analog, come on. That's crazy. That's awesome.
The role of the mother was written specifically for Tova Feldsha, who you may recognize from playing many a Jewish mother in multiple films.
Yeah.
She's great at it.
Yes.
The film is based on a play called Lipstick, which is actually a great name for a play. Good job, guys.
Well, so the two main characters are the writers of this movie.
Yes.
So, like, I bet it was like a two-woman show or like a barely above that kind of a thing that just got really popular and someone was like, we should make this a movie. You know, like...
Yep, probably. The original title of the film was Seeking Same, which I think is also a great title, to be honest with you.
It is a great title, especially for the way this movie almost ends.
Right. Most of the extras in the film were people who just happened to be walking by the cameras during filming in New York City. So they didn't actually hire extras. They just got film permits for the street, and then whoever walked by, there you go.
I buy it.
Now, this did come out in 2001, which makes it part of a very unique crop of movies in which by the time when they shot it, the World Trade Center was in the background. But by the time it was released, 9/11 had just happened.
Yeah.
So multiple background shots were removed from the film prior to its release because they showed the World Trade Center prior to 9/11.
Oh, man.
Yes.
That sucks.
Now, most of the film was shot in New York City, except for that final bookstore scene between Josh and Jessica, which was reshot in Los Angeles. This is Michael Ealy's first film ever.
Really?
And this is Jon Hamm's second film. Now, Jessica is set up on a blind date by a coworker and a friend, obviously, Joan. The date was played by Jon Hamm, with whom Jennifer Westfeldt was in a real-life relationship with at the time.
They were together for almost 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for, I really want to say Seeking Same, but Kissing Jessica Stein?
I would say this was probably made for about $2 million max.
Yeah, so it was actually $1 million, Paige.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, which, like, good for them for sure. But anyway, the movie came out the week of March 15th, and it was 30th in the theaters that weekend. But in all fairness, it was only in 26 theaters, and the number one movie, Ice Age, was in 3,316 theaters. So, like, it wasn't going to be really high up on the list. But just to give you its place in time, number 2 that weekend was Resident Evil. Number 3 was Showtime. Number 4 was The Time Machine. And number 5 was We Were Soldiers. What do you think Kissing Jessica Stein made in its opening weekend when it was 30th?
Ooh, 30th?
Yeah.
I I'm going to say this makes about 60 grand.
So it did better than that, which I was happy to see. It made $346,000, almost $347,000. It eventually got into more theaters. So its highest ever place on like the rankings was 15th in its 4th week. And it's largely because it was when the movie was still new-ish, and it was like right at the theater peak of how many theaters it was in. It actually eventually did get in up to 319 theaters, which was its highest grossing weekend at almost $1 million that weekend, even though that weekend it was actually 19th. But it then fell out of more theaters and eventually left theaters about 16 weeks later because movies stayed in the theaters a while at this time. Anyway, what do you think it made domestically at the box office in its theatrical run?
I think it's lucky to make $2 million back. I'm actually gonna say,
It made $1 million almost made $1 million in that one weekend.
Right, in that one weekend, I would say it's lucky to make $2 million potentially. Yeah.
It eventually made $7 million domestically.
All right.
Which is honestly great on a $1 million budget. Probably not a lot of marketing to support it. And honestly, the subject matter at the time, like they did great with that. It also brought in an almost $3 million internationally. So it did top $10 million worldwide in the box office on a $10 million budget. And that's why you see Jon Hamm in movies to this day.
I mean, I would say it's probably Mad Men, but
it's definitely Mad Men. It's not this.
Yep.
Anyway, that's your box office. So Paige, do you want to hit us with that romance scale?
Sure. Our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4 of how romantic we found the movie today. Todd, how romantic was this for you?
If you stop the movie before they break up and ruin it with her getting with Josh,
yes,
a 2. But because of the way this movie ends, it's kind of a 1 for me.
I'm exactly with you. That is exactly how I feel as well. And that's your romance scale.
Yeah, and there really isn't any sex scenes, so there's no roar scale in this one. It's just there's nothing.
It's off screen, so no roar scale, but...
Yeah, I honestly bet it's probably because of the time, because
Yeah.
Anyway, but so that's your roar scale. So Paige, this week you made us watch Kissing Jessica Stein. What are you going to make us watch next week as we continue the month?
This next one is kind of a weird pick, but given who all is in it and the fact that it's a musical, and it does sound like a crazy unhinged love story, we're doing Dix the Musical.
Can't wait. It's like a murderer's row of amazing people.
Yes.
You got Nathan Lane. You got Megan Mullally. You got Bowen Yang.
Yes.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes.
Tom Kenny. Yes. That Tom Kenny. It's
all of them.
Everybody you want to be in the movie, and maybe a listener too.
Maybe a listener.
I'm assuming Nick Offerman still listens. So yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So that's the movie for next week, guys. Watch Dix the Musical. I didn't realize it exists until Paige mentioned it tonight, and I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm very excited to do a musical. I have seen part of this movie. It is unhinged in the craziest way, and I'm excited to watch it.
Can't wait.
But yeah, that's your movie for next week, Dix the Musical.
Heck yeah.
And hey, do you have any reviews for us, Todd?
I do. This week, I'm going to read a Spotify comment from our most recent Troy episode.
Nice.
And listen, I realized you and I went deep on something that I thought was so ridiculous that...
Is it the swan?
No. Oh,
okay.
Was it though if it was the swan? It's not.
Is it hammers?
It's not hammers either. But if you want to guess, I will give you only 20 or 25 more until I stop you.
All right.
No, it was the ruins.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this comment comes in from Wayward Zero, and they say, the ruins in ancient Greece belong to the Mycenaeans, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, so apologies, who lived there before them. For further information, see the documentary Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I thought that was so funny because you and I made the joke about knowing a lot about...
Look, I have played portions of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you are correct. Those buildings were there.
But on the Exuma episode on Horror Version, we talked about how we knew a little bit about the history that the movie's playing on because we learned about it through a video game. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so I thought that was very funny. And honestly, because those stories are typically like historic fiction where they take like
liberties,
real history, and then heighten it with, real stories that happen within it. I bet that part of it is actually true. So like they were being historically accurate in Troy, and we just like lampooned them, to use a 1960s term about it.
Hey, you
and
know what?
we were wrong. And that to me is very funny.
It's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, Wayward Zero, you're not a zero to me. And thank you so much for leaving that comment. And if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep. Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us
to completion. Bye. Josh is the worst in this movie, nerd.
He's the fucking worst.
I literally hate him.
Hi, I am Mandy Moore.
Sterling K. Brown.
And I'm Chris Sullivan. And we host the podcast That Was Us, now on HeadGum.
Each episode, we're going to go into a deep dive from our show, This Is Us.
That's right.
We're going to go episode by episode. We're also going to pepper in episodes with different guest stars and writers and casting directors.
Yeah.
Are we going to cry? Yes.
A little bit.
Are we going to
Often.
laugh?
A lot.
A whole lot.
That's what I'm hoping, man. Listen to That Was Us on your favorite podcast app or watch full video episodes on YouTube or Spotify. New episodes every Tuesday.